Hey guys, it's Bailey from the Joining Me Today podcast here for the fourth episode of the podcast. Once again, I've got another fantastic guest for you guys. And so I always like to bring you guys the best guests, and I just can't wait for today's interview. But as always, before we get started, I'm going to do a song recommendation and stuff, as with every sort of episode. And so I've been doing a song recommendation before. Last episode, a little bit more special that time because I actually did my own version of the Grammys and stuff. I did a music video of the year, an album of the year on top of the songs, and I did my top 3 songs of the year. And the last episode's winner of the sort of 2022 Bailey's Grammys was a song called This Hell by Rina Sawayama, an absolutely fantastic song that I still recommend you guys check out. But in today's episode, I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit special this time as well, because recently FIFA themselves, an absolute dream of mine happened. FIFA actually put in a World Cup special soundtrack that featured songs from previous FIFA games, something that I've been praying for ages, for them to show that appreciation. And I had to take the opportunity. The FIFA soundtracks to me, a massive part of my life. You know what I mean? It means a lot. It sort of got me to start realising I like music. Like, this is a part of my life. I never thought I liked music. It led me to paths such as liking bands like Panna at the Disco, who weren't even in FIFA, but it led me down that path. And I have to take the opportunity to shout it out and stuff. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be shouting out these 3 songs. There's a couple of songs I will omit from songs I'll shout out from FIFA soundtracks, because certain songs I want to save for more other times. Love Me Again's my favourite song of all time. That was in the first episode. That's from FIFA 14. It's songs like that that will be special, but I will be shouting out 3 songs from FIFA that still mean a lot to me, obviously, but I want to sort of put in this part. And I'm going to do them sort of really quickly and stuff. I'm worried I've waffled on a little bit already and stuff. So those songs are going to be and stuff. Beck with Dreams. It's going to be Small Pools with Dreaming. And thirdly, I'm going to have a song called MGMT by Kids, which, oh, that song is just, it's going to make me cry, but I've got a whole podcast to get through. I can't be crying. So anyway.
Can I go for one? I've got a good one.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Oh, by the way, this is the guest, by the way. Ewan and stuff, EABskills and stuff. He so badly wants to get in with the song. Go on. I want to hear it now. Go on.
Mate, I'm just as much as an enthusiast of old FIFA tunes as you are. So I'd go for Hits Me Like a Rock. And I can't think of the band. I think it was FIFA 12 or FIFA 13, but that was an absolute tune. Yeah, MGMT Kids though, it's another great one, and Dreaming by Small Pool. So yeah, classic.
Some fantastic classic songs and stuff. I like the way also that you're enthusiastic about the FIFA soundtracks, because when I say to other people and stuff, they'll play FIFA and they'll be like, oh, soundtracks are cool, and then I feel awkward when I say this is a big part of my life. So it's nice to see it reciprocated.
Yeah. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
So anyway, you've already done your song recommendation now. I was actually just about to go on to it. I'm introducing my amazing guest and stuff like that. Going to ask you your song recommendation. Today on the podcast, I have football freestyler, YouTuber, social media influencer, and all-around fantastic guy. Today on the podcast, I've got Ewan, a.k.a. EABskills with me. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. It's great to be here. I know we've tried to get this done for quite a while, so it's been great to get this finally done today. So yeah, how are yourself?
Yeah, I've been good and stuff. I've been like sort of working on this podcast, getting sort of stuff and stuff like that, more and more set up for it. Been working on getting some audio versions of the podcast and stuff like that. Nice. So check it out on Spotify, and it says it's on Amazon Music, but Amazon Music's not great, to be honest. From my experience, it seems to be funny with it, but you might find it on there. You know, go check it out and stuff. But yeah, no, I've been good. And I've also been seeing stuff like you and stuff like a couple of your videos at the World Cup. Funny enough, I saw you went to the World Cup recently. What was that experience like?
It was absolutely insane. Amazing experience. You know, being amongst the different fans, and I'd never been to a World Cup game before. I'd only been to one England game in my life, so to actually go to the World managed to follow England. I know we obviously didn't get as far as we wanted to, but it was it was absolutely insane. Got to link up with a lot of other influencers as well, freestylers, etc. So it was a really good time. It was a long time. I was there 5 weeks, so it was a long time. But it was a really, really interesting place. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I admittedly and stuff like that, I would love to go to a World Cup one day and stuff. That's still sort of a dream of mine and stuff. And you never know, could be England in the final one time. Maybe the next one, 2026. Oh, it'd be brilliant. Oh.
See, that's Mexico, USA, and Canada, isn't it?
Oh,
26.
yeah. Because they've got that weird country thing going on, didn't they? It's like across 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be up for going to that one as well?
Absolutely. That would be really interesting, because obviously logistically it would be difficult.
Yeah.
Because you'd have people flying from Mexico to Canada to US constantly during the tournament, and I'm not sure how they set that up with regards to the group stages and stuff. So I'm really intrigued to see how that's going to work logistically. But the US put on a brilliant World Cup in '94. Obviously Mexico 1970, two brilliant World Cups. Then throw Canada into the mix then as well. Canada's got a really good team. Their culture for football is growing by the day. Same with US as well. The US men's national team is really improving a lot. So I'm really, really intrigued to see the infrastructure and how that's going to work, because there's high hopes for that one.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what happens and stuff. Like you said, I'm excited to see how it's all going to work out, because it's the first time we've had Korea and like Japan do a dual one, but this time it's now spread across a lot sort of bigger area and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what goes down, but I think they'll do well and stuff. Two of them have hosted it before, and Canada's had like the Winter Olympics and stuff like that. So I think we'll be seeing and stuff stuff like World Cup from them. So your experience and stuff. Like I was saying, I saw some of your videos out there. It was pretty sick and stuff. And I'd like to sort of go a bit back a bit, rewind a bit. I'd like to find out a bit more about your sort of early sort of like experiences with football, full stop. Sort of how did you get your sort of start and stuff as football, like as a child and stuff, and then how did you sort of go down the path of like football freestyling and the start of your sort of brand, you could say?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as most kids find in the UK, you've either got a dad or an uncle or someone who's really into football, or a granddad, and they get you kicking a ball about from day dot. So I just remember in the house, it was always football. There was always like a little inflatable ball or a little sponge ball, and just me and my dad used to play in the hallway. We used to put up a little inflatable goal, and we just used to play for hours, and that was just some of the best times. And you think back to that, and the memories that you've got attached to those like little moments, those kind of pivotal moments when you're in your early years, when you think you're going to be the next David Beckham, and you see yourself swazzing in balls from from the living room into the stairs, and that was an amazing time. So yeah, football was just always in the house, and obviously, as you can see, big Wolves fan. My dad was again, huge Wolves fan. Got me into that. I've season ticket there still to this day. So there was always football, and then obviously, it's actually a really interesting path. I didn't start playing proper football, 11-a-side or 9-a-side, etc., until I was about 10 years old. So I actually did Brazilian football before that for 4 years. So from the age of 6 till about 10, I was doing Brazilian soccer school coaching. So essentially, that's all about futsal. That's all about learning skills. Like, essentially, it's just learning skills as opposed to learning how to play football. And it's a really different way of thinking. You learn how to control a ball before you can kind of score a goal. And it's a really interesting. It's a more fun way, I thought, of being introduced to football. So that's actually what I did before I then joined a team. And then I joined a team, and I did really well, to be fair. Playing football and for school and through the different divisions and stuff that I was playing. I got to kind of like county level, and then I was like, this is just getting a bit too much. Got to around 14, and I was doing like a lot of skills in my games and a lot of skills at training, and my coach was just like, look, like you need to stop this because you're pulling it off, but it's you're almost like, what do you want to do? Do you want to do skills or do you want to play football? And it's like, that was a big question. And it was like, I just want to do skills, man. I want to do skills. And at this point, I started my YouTube, my brand EABskills. I'd started that in 2013. So it's 10 years old next month, which is really cool.
Wow.
So this is a nice little, it's a nice kind of coming of age moment, I feel, this year, because I started then and I've just done the World Cup and it seems a real kind of full circle thing. So yeah, I was doing that from 14, creating videos, working with companies at that young of an age, and it just seemed to snowball from there ever since I stopped playing football and just putting all my focus onto the skills and making videos for Facebook I was doing back in the day and YouTube, and it just kind of went from there, and it's gone strength to strength from that point. So that's essentially a breakdown of where I've come from.
And it's a fantastic story. It's fantastic to hear like how it wasn't just like, like, oh, I'd seen and stuff like skills, like people doing football skills and all that, and you did that. It was sort of like you went through the traditional route, and it was like you'd realised, I like football, but I don't know if this is for me. Like you sort of was like, I prefer the more skills route, because a lot of people think, if they'll take like one thing like football, or it'll be like gaming, and it'll be like, oh, if I'm going to do this, I'll just have to be competitive. I'll have to be this. Like, oh, if I like football, I have to be a footballer. No, you can be football comedy, or just, like your friend and stuff, Kieran Brown, for instance, some of the content he does and stuff like that, where it'll be like testing footballs and stuff like that. Like, there's not just one path. So it's interesting to hear that was kind of like your own experience and stuff. That was pretty cool.
I'll tell you a really interesting story about Kieran. So I've known Kieran for 12 years now, and we played in the same team when we were kids. So we came through together, and then we both actually finished playing football the same year. So he quit about 6 months before me for the same reasons. Then I quit 6 months later from the same team for the same reasons. So those training sessions were real fun. You had the rest of the team kind of like just leathering balls about before training, and me and Kieran were just like, showing each other new skills that we'd learn and stuff like that. And so that's really interesting. Obviously, key to this day is one of my best mates. So it's been a real nice journey to actually do that with him as well. So.
Oh yeah, like sort of like your sort of relationship and stuff like that with Kieran and stuff like, you can tell like you guys are really close friends from the sort of videos you've appeared with him and stuff, and it's really nice to see that, you know what I mean, sort of you guys came up through that way, and sort of even like the sort of path you guys have gone down, or like Kieran, like strength to strength, like the success fantastic, but you know what I mean, you guys still have loads of fun and all that, and it's great to see that. Sort of on that and stuff, I was actually going to ask something about sort of your relationship with Kieran, that sort of videos you've done with him. What sort of like videos and stuff have you done with him, for those who like don't know, like, because I know you guys have done some fun challenges and stuff like that?
We've done hundreds of videos. So Kieran actually only lives like 3 minutes away from me. So it's literally just down the road. So we've always been able to help each other, every single day. We've always been like, I'm filming a video today, can you get involved? Or I'm filming a video today, can you jump in? And he'll always help, I'll always help. So it's been really nice. I think some of the best videos we've done are some of those crazy extreme challenges. Kieran's got a crazy mindset. Like he works differently to me, because a lot of the times he'll message me the night before. He's like, yo, I'm filming tomorrow, can you get involved? I'm like, yeah, sure, what time? I'll get there, and it's like, he still hasn't told me the video idea. I'm just used to it these days, but he still hasn't told me the video idea. And the best story about one of the videos is, I turned up, I was ill, man. I was like, I had a cold, I was not feeling well, and I was like, yeah, I'll go and help him, I'm sure it'll only be like an hour or so. I get there and he's got like £800 worth of corn flour in his garden. He set up like this makeshift pond type thing in his garden. There's tarpaulin all over the place. It's freezing cold. It's like 2 degrees. And I'm thinking, oh, Kieran, this could have been any other day than this. And he's like, yeah, can we start unloading these corn flour bags into this like pond of water? I'm like, yeah, I'll do that, but can you just tell me what the video is first before we get involved? So that ended up being that Oobleck video. So it was like playing football on an Oobleck pitch. So it's essentially like quicksand for people who don't know what that is. That was so fun. But we've done some crazy viral stuff. I mean, the one that always goes viral is the slip and slide football. You know, we were the first guys to do that before the sidemen jumped on it and everyone. So that was always nice. I mean, that's done like 100 million views across like social, you know, on all our platforms. Just been crazy. But yeah, you know, we've done a lot of experiments, etc. And he's always jumped in on my stuff as well. So it's been good.
Oh yeah, like sort of the content and stuff you guys do and stuff like that. Sort of when you guys film together is just amazing. Especially, I'm happy you brought up that slip and slide episode because that's still one that. Oh, it was so. When I first watched it, it was just by chance that I was just looking through, and I was like, "Oh, Kieran Brown, he's uploaded slip and slide thing," and I was like, "Oh, hey, like sort of, you know, what I mean, you're in the video and stuff."
Yeah.
I was like, wait, how's this gonna go down? And then when you guys were trying to shoot and you were slipping everywhere, I was like, oh my, I can imagine what that video was like.
Mate, we got some crazy feedback, you know, from parents emailing in being like, this is so unsafe, like, what are you doing? And we were like, yeah, we did put disclaimers all over the videos, like, do not try this at home, because, you know, I don't know why we even did that. I mean, we're both football freestylers, we rely on our legs, and we did that. Still to this day, I don't know how we got through that unscathed, like, with no broken bones or anything, because that was pretty intense. And we did a version as well maybe a year or so later, and it was like the Lego slip and slide.
Yeah.
And it was like, and there was like it was the ultimate death pitch or something like that. And there was Lego all over this slip and slide. There was like, you know, drawing pins. There was ice. There was everything, and that was the most dangerous video. But it was crazy. It was. I look back on all these things now, and I'm like, I probably wouldn't do that now. But I'm really glad we did it at the time. So
it'd be so funny if it's like next time it's like swinging swords and it's like, you know, like big
this is Kieran. I never know what to expect. I turn up. I'm just like, yeah, cool, no worries.
But yeah, no, obviously great entertainment. If you guys haven't checked out and stuff those videos, you should definitely go check them out. They're an absolute laugh. They're absolutely fantastic. Sort of backpedaling stuff a bit, going back to sort of you and your football freestyling career stuff, you've been able to do so many sort of cool things like because of it. I know that, for instance, you work with Wolves and stuff, your own sort of like favourite football club and stuff. Sort of what are some of the like things you've been able to do because of your freestyle brand, and what's it like working with your favourite football club?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. First of all, working with Wolves has always been like, I never set goals because when I first started this, you couldn't even make money from YouTube. It wasn't a thing. And that's why I think people like me, Kieran, and, you know, others who started at that point have had longevity, because we've never, ever been in it for anything other than just we love to make videos and we do football. So I think that's the first point. But I think secondly, you know, having these opportunities come through from Wolves, you know, being able to perform at the promotion party that we did, you know, in front of 40,000 fans, that was absolutely insane. You know, I've played on the pitch there with legends. I've created my own YouTube series for their YouTube account with Adama Traore, different players. You know, I've done their kit launches. You know, I've presented their esports campaign. So I've done a lot with Wolves, and it's been like a real honour to be able to do that. I think, I mean, obviously, you know, I've managed to do a lot during my career, and it's been crazy. I mean, some of the things, you know, working with like Harry Kane, you know, working with different footballers, body doubling for Kevin De Bruyne, that was insane. That was a real highlight. You know, he was really nice guy, and he had a very similar upbringing to me, so he learned like futsal before we played football. So again, that was a really interesting one to hear from him. But there's been some crazy highlights, really hard to pinpoint, but I'd say probably obviously performing at the World Cup this last month or so has been the absolute highlight for me.
Oh yeah, like you've done some like you were saying some amazing things to work with like Harry Kane and be like a sort of a double for Kevin De Bruyne, some of the best players, probably not even just of sort of our generation, the current generation, but of football of all time. You know what I mean? And it's amazing to think like sort of from starting grassroots and stuff like that from football to think where you sort of are now and what you've been able to do is like amazing and stuff. And it's definitely an inspiration to people that want to sort of start up sort of a similar thing to yourself and stuff. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I missed this out, but I also created my own freestyle academy as well. So I ran that for 2 years. That was a really proud moment. I had like I was putting on sessions, and I remember the first time I put on sessions, I put it live on my website and never sold out within 10 minutes. I had like 100 kids like just
Wow.
ready, waiting to come to these sessions. And I built that up for a couple of years. Then COVID hit, and it was one of them things where post COVID, I was just in a different direction with my life. And I was like, let's put this on the back burner for now. But I've still got the brand and everything, EABskills Freestyle Academy. But it was so nice to have all those kids, in my own merchandise, coming to the sessions every week, teaching them like the route that I was brought into football. I was brought in a different way, I suppose an unorthodox way, and I tried to really instill those values into those kids as well. And a lot of them have gone on to receive like pro contracts and stuff like that. So I'm really proud of the academy as well.
Yeah, that's like amazing to hear. Like you actually set up your own skills school and to see sort of people go on to pro contracts. That's like that must be something to be like so proud of. Like I know I would be
Absolutely.
myself. And,
Absolutely.
It's sad to sort of hear sort of like COVID ended up affecting things. I know that affected loads of things, but I like the fact that you said sort of like sometimes you do take a different direction in life, and I think a lot of people did that over COVID. I know myself and stuff like I went from sort of pre-COVID to sort of now. I'm definitely a different person. Pre-COVID, I wasn't even an adult yet. I'm now sort of 20 years old, and I remember during COVID and since then and stuff, I've sort of thought a lot about like, what do I want to do in terms of my life, and what do I want to do this direction, and I feel like I've matured a lot and stuff, so I sort of can relate to that, and stuff like this podcast has started sort of interviewing great people like yourself and stuff. Like I've been wanting to do stuff like this, and now I'm doing it and stuff, so yeah, it's fantastic to sort of see that connection sort of there.
I think COVID gave a lot of people real perspective, and I think a lot of people in my world, I deal with. I hate the word influencer, but that's what we all kind of are, because that's what the phrase has been coined. But I deal with a lot of influencers who I feel probably pre-COVID were probably getting a little bit ahead of themselves. They get thrown a lot of money sometimes with brand deals, and they get a lot of things attention. They get a lot of things thrown at them, and when it was all took away. I think when people would just be like, everything was took away and people moved back in with their parents and people moved, to be closer with their families for a few months. It was like people gained a lot of perspective, and they came out of that either a much better person or, in a different route in life. And I think that was a real pivotal moment for this generation of people online and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we definitely needed some moments like that and stuff, because like you were saying, like I think the YouTube space and stuff, as you were saying before, you were saying about you couldn't even monetize your videos when you were doing it, Kieran and all that.
No.
And because of now people can, I think a lot of people get in, like you said, for the money, and then once they do get all these brand deals, they're like, oh, I'll take this, I'll take that, I'm like, look how famous I am. I've got 300,000 followers on Instagram. That means that I can talk to whoever I want now. And we've seen a lot of stuff happen related to people getting ahead of themselves. But I think people in general need those moments of reflection and to sort of take things into account of like take a step back and be like, okay, this is this. Hang on a minute. Is this right? Am I doing this? So yeah, no, you're definitely right in what you're saying. And it's definitely great advice and stuff to give out there. Sort of to move on and stuff like that, sort of a bit on from that and stuff. You've funny enough, speaking of statistics and stuff like that, you yourself and stuff have like got and stuff, nearly 200,000 followers on TikTok, over 100,000 on Instagram and stuff. And I know obviously you're a very sort of humble guy and stuff, but when you see those sort of statistics, all the views you've got over time on all these platforms, like how does it feel to think about sort of the reach you've had in terms of your content, especially coming from that very grassroots sort of like level?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's been, I think what has helped me is I never had like one video that did like 100 million, 200 million views, that some people get, and that just puts them in on a pedestal straight away. And, they might gain like 100,000 followers in like a year or something like that on Instagram because they had one crazy video go viral. So I think what I've always appreciated is the fact that that's allowed me to have a lot of longevity. I've been doing this 10 years now, and I've consistently adapted and improved over time. You see a lot of like flash in the pan influencers now. Like you said, people who jump in just for a bit of money. They'll kind of like, jump on trends and they might grow an account. And then they don't know how to move on from the trends that they're stuck in. And I think that's a real problem. And if you can't overcome and adapt, then you are going to be stuck. But yeah, like I said, seeing the numbers that I've had and continue to get, it's like a drug. It makes you want to just keep continuing. Like you have to keep going. But it's also, I've been quite smart with it. I've never just fully focused on social as like my job. I've always like I said, I've had different things that I like to do. So I've invested money in different areas, different businesses, and so I've tried to build myself a life around social, but without having to fully rely on social. Because I never want to do social just because I have to do it.
Oh yeah, and it's good and stuff to like diversify and stuff like that than just because you never know and stuff what can happen with any social media platform.
Absolutely,
we're seeing a lot with YouTube now that a lot of people are moving from it and stuff, especially in the live stream space. So you never know when the sort of creator's going to fall, when the creator's going to happen, and you do need to diversify. And it's obviously good to hear yourself has sort of diversified your portfolio and stuff, you could say, and so it's very important.
Absolutely.
Sort of on that sort of same note, then, speaking of YouTube and all that and social media, we've seen a lot of changes over time in terms of like sort of different video lengths mean different things and copyright claiming and stuff like that. Even on other social media platforms and stuff, what's popular and what's not has sort of dictated people's successes. Sort of what's your sort of opinion on the current social media space and sort of what's like, have you made any changes yourself to sort of fit more sort of with, I know you do a lot more YouTube shorts now, for instance, because I know that's a bigger thing and stuff. So how has that affected your like work?
Yeah, really, really interesting point. Actually, it's not something that I think we talk about enough from the influencer side of things. I don't think we talk about like a lot of the changes that do happen a lot. So that's the first time I've been asked that question. So it's a really good question. I think it was well documented in about 2016 that Instagram, or 2016, 2017, that Instagram completely changed the algorithm. From the chronological order to this whole we suggest you like this post, or they're throwing things on feeds that were from a month ago, but because there's like paid spend behind that, they want to push it more because that benefits them. So I think that was a really hard thing to navigate. So that couple of years where people were really trying to work out what Instagram was again, that was difficult. I think, as people will know, I started on YouTube, and I quickly got kind of bored with that, really. Around maybe 2014, 2015, I kind of stopped and scaled back the uploading on there. And I think the only reason why was because I wasn't working as smartly as I could. It was taking me and I was still at college at that time as well, in all fairness. But it was taking me the whole weekend to create like a YouTube video, versus I could just be making like 12 Instagram videos in like 2 hours. So it was just kind of like working smart with that. And then obviously when TikTok came onto the scene, one of my best friends, Ben Black, like he was telling us all about TikTok from from the minute it was on, and we were all like, what? Like, I don't want to be posting dancing content and all that, because that's what it was at the time. It was Musically at the time. And obviously that did its thing, and I've kind of understood that algorithm now, and I kind of get that. But I think the biggest thing right now with social is like relatable content. People want relatable content. That's why highly polished videos in short form aren't performing nowadays. It has to be something that's quickly shot on a phone, and something that you can relate to. I mean, one of the best videos I had last year was 12 million views on Instagram, and that was as simple as a football being rolled under a car, under Kieran's car actually, a football being rolled under a car, and me literally getting down using my leg to get it out. And the CTA on the video was like this video if you remember this happening to you as a kid. The ball getting stuck and you scraping with your foot to get it out. And it was as simple as that. It was like a 5-second video. And it was like, it's so funny. I can do all the football skills in the world, but that is what people want to see, because it's relatable and it's nostalgic. And I think you have to kind of like blend what's working and what the trends that you're seeing working into the skills that you have as well. So I think that's the biggest thing right now is just really trying to be as relatable and transparent really as possible with social.
Yeah, we're like, you're definitely right, and so relatable content is definitely like a bigger thing. And I think a lot of people nowadays, a lot of people are more sort of looking at sort of their past and nostalgia and sort of what they remember and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like even in sort of, it makes me think of music, for instance. Now it's why we're seeing a lot of nostalgic sort of sounding music, because a lot of pop culture and culture now is much more about looking back and stuff. So you're definitely right about the relatable thing. It's quite sad though, because I feel like with stuff like that, it ends up then sadly alienating and stuff like that. Like if you like a certain type of content, you know, for people who like the short form polished videos, they then feel a bit left behind, and sort of it's one of those where it's like, you know, YouTubers don't mean to leave those people behind. It's just kind of how the platform goes. I know with myself, like it bothers me, but like it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just how it changes.
It is, but I think this is where the diversification of your platforms comes into play as well, because you know, especially the last couple of months, I've really broke down all of the different platforms that I post on, whether that be TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube Shorts, and I'm thinking like, I can't just make one video and you know repurpose this across those three channels. It has to be really direct content for each of those audiences, and that's, you know, allowing me to really research into what those platforms want. You know, I can tell you from now, I've got it here on my wall, like what TikTok wants, what Instagram wants, what YouTube Shorts wants, and it's like, you know, I've got on here TikTok. They want kind of like, you know, money challenges, and they want like forfeits, and it's very kind of like CBBC style, you know, that type of content from back in the day, but kind of like on steroids. And then you kind of want like, you know, more player-based, relatable, you know, nostalgic type of themes. And then I think with YouTube Shorts again, it's completely different, because you could potentially like upload more of like an interview like this, and I think that would do better on YouTube Short, like a clip from that with some captions. And so all the platforms are so different, and you have to think like that these days to succeed on all of them, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's quite funny because as well, like speaking of like shorts content and all stuff like that in terms of this podcast, I remember I was funny enough, I was at a convention recently and stuff, and I was in line and stuff, funny enough, to meet sort of a YouTuber and stuff like that I like sort of had watched the content of, really liked their content, and I saw he was sort of filming like shorts like videos for people and silly little gags for them, and I remember thinking, I was like, oh, I wouldn't want to do something like that, it's not my sort of thing. But then I thought, but am I just being stubborn because that's what I know, or should I maybe try and adapt? You know, there might be something here. And I remember I just was like, you know, oh, I'll film a funny video sort of with the YouTuber, sort of tag them in there. I thought it might get a few views, didn't think anything of it. I woke up and it had like 80 overnight. Bearing in mind, I only had like 25 subscribers, 30 subscribers, and it had got double that, and I didn't tag it with it. All I did was I just tagged them in, and it just went crazy because it's a YouTube short. And it made me realise, like, yeah, there really is a market here. Like, this is what people want now, and it's made me start to think about, funny enough, doing more highlight clips and stuff like that, because that can then bring people to the main videos and stuff. So it's all about connecting, getting them in the door, and then obviously, you know, sort of you can be like, oh, you have a few TikTok videos that sort of people like. They'll go, oh, I'll see more about, you know what I mean, this guy and stuff. He seems cool. They go check out your other stuff, and they go, oh, he does this videos, that stuff, and then from there, then it expands your brand. And yeah, it's definitely very important. And I think you're a great person in that space in terms of expanding your brand and making the content you're making.
Yeah, no, I think you have to think about it like this as well. You know, if you put a person in front of your three different platforms right now, you opened up YouTube on one, Instagram on the other one, and TikTok on the other one, and you put them in front of them, and you're like, okay, follow one of them. Which one are they going to follow? If all of the content is the exact same across all of them, they'll just follow one of them and not the rest. You want to be like, oh, I'm going to follow this one for, you know, Instagram relatable content. Then on this one, you know, I'm going to follow for YouTube Shorts, more like learning behind the person. And then the next one I'm going to follow on TikTok because I want to see some funny content when I'm in bed. And it's like, that's what you have to do with your brand these days. I mean, look at Logan Paul, KSI. These people are becoming, they're not just pigeonholed anymore. They're becoming like huge in each of these different sections, whether that's boxing, music, hydration with a drink, right? Comedy, all these different things, and you have to think about that. I think so much these days.
Oh yeah, you're definitely right, and you're right about sort of with KSI and Logan, what they've been doing, diversifying, doing all these different things. Like you're 100% right with that and stuff. And so you're 100% right. Sort of now we've looked and stuff at sort of your present and sort of like your past and stuff, what you've done. I'd also like to talk a bit about sort of your future and stuff in terms of your future plans and stuff. What would you say like the future looks like sort of for yourself now?
Really interesting one. It's not something I think of a huge amount. I mean, I think more about my future in a way of like using everything that I earn from my socials to invest smartly and to be able to live a life that I'm free to do whatever I please. So that's my biggest goal, and it's still, by doing that, I then still have the freedom to just post whatever I want because it's fun, as opposed to being complete slaves to the algorithms. So I think that's where my future lies, and I still want I want another 15 years, 20 years in the EABskills game, because I've done 10 and I'm only 24 right now, so I know the sky's the limit. I think with where you can go with social. I think from a freestyle point of view, I can freestyle till I'm whenever, maybe 35, 36, 37. But I think that's not like my big thing. My big thing is just being smart. Anything I kind of make is reinvesting and just being able to allow myself to keep living the life that I'm living at the moment. So that's probably where I'm at really with my future.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic to hear and stuff. And like you said, sort of, you don't necessarily you want to obviously keep doing what you're doing, but you understand that sort of it's not all going to be like the same. You're not just going to keep being like, oh, freestyling when you're like 50 or something. Obviously, things are going to change.
Absolutely.
You appreciate that, but it's nice to see that you still want to continue that brand and stuff, because what I think you're doing and stuff is amazing and stuff like that. And it'd be nice to see sort of more and more of your stuff in the future and stuff. Stuff that you guys should definitely check out if you haven't already. Got to do the plugs and the shout outs.
No, absolutely. No, I think just to add to that as well, I just want to keep helping people. I do a lot of like social media consultancy as well in my spare time. A lot of people don't know like what I do, but I have so many different strings, and I'm like, over here I'm spending say 50% of my day helping other brands to grow their presence, and it's like I just want to keep doing that. And whether I can grow something from EABskills to help out like younger football creators, that would be amazing. Whether I could do that with another influencer like someone like Kieran or someone like that, because that would be a really interesting thing as well. So there's a lot of things that I'm thinking, but we'll see take it every day, each day as it comes.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And it's interesting to hear and stuff that also you work in social media consultancy, because like you said, I didn't even have any idea about that. So it's great to sort of see sort of yourself in that field and stuff. What sort of things would what sort of things would you be sort of consulting people on in terms of social media? What would like a typical sort of like a conversation, a meeting, whatever with people be like about that?
Yeah, so essentially it's either with brands or with actual individual influencers. So if there's like, let's say for example an influencer that I've worked with over the last year, they're a female football freestyler who's really coming through and starting to let's say make a little bit of money from what they're doing, and they're just trying to work out like how can I elevate this, and how can I create longevity out of this as opposed to just a flash in the pan. So that's what I'm trying to work on with influencers. And then from a brand point of view, it's like I'm trying to help brands be more relatable on social, and I'm trying to tell them that you have to be creating behind the scenes content. You have to be creating certain feels and looks to your content these days. lots of different tips and tricks that I've picked up along the way, working with all the brands that I've worked with from an influencer point of view. I'm trying to help them like that. So, even if that's influencer management, if they need like, does this guy look good? Do you think we're going to get like a good ROI with this person on a campaign? I'm like, either yes or no, and we can get into, discussions like that. So there's a lot of things like that I do. Again, just in my spare time, just because I really, really enjoy helping people like that as well. It's really, really good fun.
Yeah, and that's fantastic to hear and stuff. You're sort of taking what you've learned and stuff from your own experience and sort of what you've seen in the rest of the industry and stuff, and sort of you then helping people out and stuff. That's like fantastic. And you're definitely right about the whole with the sort of brands thing and what people need to do in terms of having certain shots and angles and stuff like that. It's the things that people don't think about. They think, oh no, it's just you've got to make something that's eye catching. It's like, yeah, but how do you make it eye catching?
How do you do that? Yeah.
Like I see like for instance and stuff like that. A lot of brands now on Twitter are going the more sort of relatable route and stuff. Certain firm fast food brands are sort of they're doing cheeky sort of comments, being like, oh look, this fast food chain, their burgers are like this, ours is this. But even though it's a joke and it's all a bit silly, but it's actually them presenting themselves as we're not just a corporate entity. We're real. We're relating to you. It's comedy and
absolutely.
And your work's definitely
And with that, there's such a fine line with brands, right? There's such a fine line between being relatable and being cringe, and they really have to tread that line carefully. So it's all about that. There's so many micro things that you have to think about when you're creating content, whether that be Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Again, they're all different demographics across the board. So there's so much.
There's so much and stuff like that you've got to consider and stuff, but luckily they've got people like you to help them out and stuff, so that's good.
Hit me up, guys, hit me up.
So like and stuff, admittedly and stuff, I've got through and stuff a lot of the things and stuff I wanted to ask and stuff. It's been sort of a great sort of conversation and stuff with yourself and stuff. I'll do two final things and stuff like that. I've got one really important question, and I've also got another one. It's a bit more of a fun question. I'll get into the fun question first. I would like you to take a guess at what my favourite football team is.
It's going to be a London-based team. I'm going to go quite left field and say something like Charlton.
Nope. And it's not a London-based team.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm stumped because you've got the accent screams London to me. It screams like I don't know, mate.
Okay, I'll help you out with some clues. I kind of threw you in the deep end there. I apologise for that. I'll try and help. So I did originally come from East London and stuff. And sort of a lot of my family's from East London, stuff like that. So that's where a lot of the sort of, and North London, all that. That's where the accent comes from. I'm currently living in Essex. My favourite team isn't in Essex though, or isn't in London. It's close by, and they're in and stuff. The EFL League, so League 2, League 1 or Championship.
Is it... Okay, I've got two. These are my two guesses. It's either Grays or Gillingham.
It's neither of them, no.
I'm done. I don't know.
Okay, my favourite football team and stuff like that, and I do have a reason for it. My favourite football team is actually Reading.
Oh, okay, Reading, yeah.
Reading, yeah. I'm one of those people. One of the three that support them.
I was going to say, I didn't realise Reading had more than two fans. So. Nice.
Oh, it's actually like, it's not even like funny in a way though, because I saw us play the other night and stuff. I can't remember who we was playing. And it was like Tuesday night, filmed game, like during the Christmas period, like Boxing Day. And we had like 7,000, 8,000 people in the stadium. And I just like, we got a 23,000 seater stadium. How are we not filling it up? It's crazy.
The problem with the Majeski though is the best thing about the area is the Costco, and that's it. Like, other than that, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a pain to get to. I've been there twice with Wolves. And it's an absolute nightmare. I don't like it, to be honest, mate.
I've actually got a funny story of when I went. I went for the first time in 2016 and stuff,
Mm.
and it was a surprise for my birthday and stuff, and sort of went there and stuff, and we was like, oh, we'll make a day of it. We'll go here, go there.
Yeah.
We then got stuck in, I think, traffic once or twice. It was a 3 hour drive, and so because I live in northeast Essex, so it's a 3 hour drive to the stadium. We get there. There'd been a fire at the local KFC, so we couldn't go there. That then caused the power to go out for the whole area around the stadium. So we couldn't go in the shop beforehand. We couldn't go anywhere else, like the Reading shop. So we literally was then standing outside after a 3 hour drive and stuff like that with nothing to do. None of the tills were working, nothing. And it was like, really, like, why is it happening to me now? And I was like, that's just Reading all over, innit?
That's terrible.
Oh, the good old football days. So yeah, no, unfortunately you don't win the £10,000, but you know. But
All good.
But yeah, no, the final question though and stuff like that, I'd like to get onto and stuff. We've already kind of touched a bit on sort of advice and stuff already, but I'd like to ask this for every guest and stuff as the final question. I'd like to ask sort of, if you was to give a piece of advice to someone and stuff, what would be the most important piece of advice you'd give? Like, what's the sort of words you live by?
Perspective. You have to put perspective into every situation that you're in, whether that be work, whether that be, friends, family, whether that be content. Perspective is the biggest thing. And I think perspective and self-awareness, just to have perspective and self-awareness, there's a lot of people worse off than you. There's someone, you have a car that you don't like. There's someone who's got a bike who would love a car. That you have to live by both perspective and being self-aware. The two biggest things I think in life for me.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic advice and stuff like that. And we'd kind of already said a bit about like perspective and how stuff like COVID got people to do that. And like you say, it's important to do that as much as you can. And sadly, all good things must come to an end, unfortunately, and stuff. But it's been great chatting to yourself and stuff. I hope I haven't chatted too much and stuff. I know I go on a bit, but it's been fantastic having you on the podcast.
No, thank you very much. It's been brilliant. Hopefully people have enjoyed this one.
Oh yeah, I hopefully they have. Fantastic guests. What's gonna go wrong? You know what I mean? It was a fantastic episode.
Anyway, thanks, man.
It's cool. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. But
anytime.
Anyway, I'd like to say thank you guys for watching this episode. Go check out EABskills. He's doing some fantastic stuff. Check him out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube and stuff. Check him out wherever you can. He's a fantastic guy and stuff. And that's all I've got left to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Peace out.
Take care.